Hi, second grade. Welcome back for Freckle Juice, Chapter 2. But first, I'll tell you two more jokes. So why should you never argue with a decimal point? Well, because they always have a point. Joke number 2. Do you want me to tell you a joke about pizza? You do? Oh, I shouldn't tell you. You know why? It's just too cheesy. Okay, so back to Judy Bloom's Freckle Juice, Chapter 2. That night, Andrew had trouble sleeping. He kept thinking about Freckle Juice. Maybe the reason no one in his family had freckles was because no one knew the secret recipe. If they had never even heard of Freckle Juice, how could they have any freckles? Well, that figured. Andrew didn't like the idea of paying Sharon for anything. And 50 cents was a lot of money. It was 5 whole weeks of allowance. Let's think about that. If he was paying her 50 cents and it was 5 weeks of allowance, how much did each week cost for his allowance? If you had 50 cents for every 5 weeks, what would 50 be divided by 5? How much would he get each week for his allowance? 10 cents. That's right. Good job. He decided that if Sharon's recipe didn't work, that he'd ask for his money back. That was easy. The next morning, Andrew turned the combination of a safe bank to the right numbers. 4 on top and 0 on the bottom. He took out 5 dimes. He wrapped them into a tissue and stuffed the whole thing into his pocket. He didn't have time to wash his ears or neck or anything. Was he going to anyway? He wanted to see Sharon before the last bell rang. "Bye, Mom," Andrew called. "Andrew Marcus, wait a minute." His mother hurried over to him. She almost tripped over her long bathrobe. The curlers in her hair scratched Andrew's face as she checked his ears and his neck. "Please, Mom, can we just skip it this once?" Andrew begged. Mrs. Marcus stepped away from Andrew. She pointed a finger at him. "Okay," she said. "I'll let you go this time, but tomorrow I'm looking again. And Andrew, zip up your pants." Andrew looked down, and his zippers were undone. Zippers were just a pain. "This afternoon you'll come home. I'll be next door. Mrs. Burrows invited me over to play some cards. You come get the key from me, okay?" "Okay, sure, Mom." Andrew raced to school. He could hardly wait to see the secret recipe. First he'd look at it, and if it didn't seem any good, he just wasn't going to pay. So here's Andrew with the thoughts of his family and what could be going on. He's thinking. Sharon was already at her desk when Andrew arrived. He went right over to her. "Did you bring it?" "Bring what?" Sharon opened her eyes real wide. "You know what? The secret recipe for Freckle Juice." "Oh, I have it right here." Sharon patted her pocket. "Well, let's see it." "Do you have the 50 cents? Sharon asked. "Oh, sure, right here." Andrew patted his pocket. "I'm not going to show it to you until you pay," Sharon said. Andrew shook his head. "Oh, no. First, I want to see it." "Sorry, Andrew. Deal's a deal." Sharon opened a book and pretended to read. "Andrew Marcus," Miss Kelly said, "will you please sit down? The second bell just rang. This morning we'll begin with arithmetic. Nikki, please pass out the yellow paper. When you get your paper, begin working on the problems on the board." So Andrew went to his seat. He took the tissue with the 5 dimes out of his pocket. He held it near the floor and he aimed it toward Sharon. So here you see how he's getting things out and he's passing it over to her with his foot. She sat in the next row. Sharon stuck out her foot and stepped on the tissue. She slid it over until she could reach it with her hand. She bent down and picked it up. Miss Kelly didn't notice. Is that something that we should do in class? Pass things to each other? I don't think so. Sharon counted the 5 dimes. She took a piece of folded up white paper out of her pocket and threw it to Andrew. It landed in the middle of the aisle. Andrew leaned way over to pick it up, but he lost his balance and he fell off the chair. Everyone laughed except Andrew and Miss Kelly. So he's trying to pick it up. He falls down trying to get it. So the teacher's not too happy about that. Miss Kelly sighed. "Oh, Andrew, what are you up to now? Please bring me that note." Andrew picked up the secret recipe. He didn't even have a chance to see it. It wasn't fair. It cost 50 cents for nothing. He handed it to Miss Kelly. She read it, and then she looked up at him. "Andrew, you may have this back at 3 o'clock. She put it in her desk. "I don't want this to happen again. Do you understand?" "Yes, Miss Kelly," Andrew mumbled. "Good. Now let's get your math done." Miss Kelly wasn't bad, Andrew decided. She could have ripped it up, or sent him to the principal's office, or even made him stand outside in the hall by himself. Andrew could hardly wait till 3 o'clock to come. He didn't bother counting Nicky Lane's freckles. Soon he'd have his own. When the second bell finally rang and the class marched down the hall, Andrew went up to Miss Kelly. She held the piece of paper and she waved it at him. "Here's your note, Andrew. I have a feeling it's very important to you. But from now on, you need to pay attention in class." Andrew took the recipe from Miss Kelly. "Well, after tomorrow, I won't have any trouble paying attention," he promised. "Oh, just you wait, Miss Kelly. I won't have any trouble at all. I promise." And that's the end of chapter 2. What do we think the note says? See you next time.